Welcome in to About the Card, episode 138 of About the Cards podcast, live tonight on YouTube. As always, with me, host Stefan Loeffler at Junkwax Twins. Wait, he was here. I'm hoping he could come back. He's not frozen. Ben Wilson at our trading cards, and I'm Tim Shepler at Big Shep 79. We are a podcast by collectors for collectors. I'm going to bring you a smart, insightful podcast, got some trading card collecting. We are live every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific on YouTube, Periscope, Facebook Live. Follow us on Twitter at About the Cards. We're available as a podcast everywhere. Check out the website aboutthecards.wordpress.com. And then make sure you're checking out Underdog Collectibles. They are a card shop for collectors, run by collectors. You can join them live on YouTube and Facebook every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday night at 9 p.m. Eastern for live card breaks. They offer a wide variety of break options that won't break the bank. Remember, always bet on the underdog. Ben, what's up? We had Steph pre-show. He had internet, he had power, did not have heat, but he was going to be on the show, and then I think he was moving rooms or something. I don't know, but he dropped out, so hopefully he'll be back to join us here momentarily. But how's your week been, bud?
It's been good. Obviously, we want to say first off, happy birthday to Angela. She's older today than she was yesterday, so obviously we love her. And so About the Cards wants to wish that happy birthday. And then we want to say everybody in Texas right now is in our thoughts and prayers. We've got a lot of friends out in that area, including Steph, who doesn't have heat. So we hope that everybody's staying as warm as possible, and thank heavens for us all having 1990 Topps that we can always throw over a bonfire if we need to.
Or just a Twins collection. Because, who collects the Twins? Right? Yeah. That's easy. Unless it's Kirby's titties. You got to hold on to those. It's been... how's your week been with I want to get in... Before we get into the week that was last week, I mean, we're going to talk about Series 1, but I want to get into it. Opening and selling... It's insane. It's to the stupid part where you're selling a manufactured hat relic, which are probably some of the coolest inserts.
Yeah.
I mean, here's a Joe Adele, right?
Yeah, they're slick.
They're awesome, and they're selling like hotcakes, and inserts are flying. I sold out of some of the dumbest series inserts, and maybe it's because I was the lowest price, but because I hated the cards. Those fake, the picture of a baseball card on a baseball card. I sold those, and but no, it's been crazy. But I know that you, being an A's collector, used to go to one source, Brent Becca, and you could get all of your rainbow foil, your gold parallel set, you could get parallels to your heart's desire. How's it been this year?
All right, so. The through the years inserts are the dumbest ever, but I think that once the dust settles and we all kind of get that out of our system, I think it'll actually be a cool card when we look back on it and go, it's neat. It's just the amount of people on Facebook I've seen opening up. Oh my God, the hit of a lifetime, womp womp. No, it wasn't. Your heart bleeds for them because not everybody is as educated in this hobby as us and a lot of our listeners and a lot of our friends are. And even us, some of us got stumped on those. To your point, though, in 2018, I could call up Brent and say, listen, I want the master team set, which, comes with the base and then all of the inserts from hobby only, nothing retail. And sometimes he'd be able to get me the retail as well. And then I'd ask him let me have a rainbow team set, a gold foil team set, and a gold numbered team set. And the prices were jumping from 15 to 16 to 17 to 18, but he had no problem getting me them all. Last year was the first year he could not do it, and he got me about 50% of all of the rainbow gold foil and gold numbered. This year, he's like, dude, I'm not going to come close. So you got me one of the cards. So there are 11 A's cards on the team set. So there were 33 parallels I was going to chase on this to complete the additional 3 parallel sets. You got me one. Andrew with Bayside got me one. And one of our listeners, Robert, got me one. Brent was able to get 8 in 5 cases and 5 retail cases. Essentially, he had 5 retail cases worth of parallels. So I ended up having to go to 20 sources when you include all of the different sport lot sellers and eBay sources. So you, Andrew, Robert, and then Brent accounted for 11 of the 33. I had to go to 20 individual sellers in order to complete those sets. 3 years ago, I could go to Brent, who was able to open 100 cases on his own. He was able to open 5 hobby and roughly 5 retail in 3 years. Literally told me the overproduction and oversaturation of this modern day junk wax era put him out of business. One of the saddest hobby related conversations I've had in recent memory, when he's like, I'm out of business, man. Yeah. Because I'm going to find something to do outside of the hobby for a living, and I'll just open up some cases on certain releases moving forward. I'm sure he'll still do Ginter and Gypsy, but the allocation put him out of business.
No, as you say that, the Ginter code thing, I thought that was going to start. Does anybody know where that is real quick? Because I heard shit about it. But it's sad because I can tell you, when I started working with a distributor almost 2-3 years ago, I was able to get a case of hobby and jumbo left and right. And that happened, and now I can't even get a box anymore. And I found out, like, the minimum spend for me to even get a couple of boxes now, I have to be in the $100,000 to $200,000 a year range
to get a box.
I mean, even if I spent that money, I don't know if I would be able to even get the product if I even put the orders in, because I'm putting in orders for like 2 cases worth of stuff because I know I could sell it to other people, right? Even if I made a minimal profit on it, right? Just to cover costs. Just so I could get my spend up, and I can't. It's crazy, and I don't get it. Let's get into the week that was. I mean, by the way, I do love Series 1. The only complaint is the nameplates are just too small. The design's growing on me. It looks good together, but the nameplate to me is just a little. They could have made it just slightly bigger, and it would have been a lot better card.
And with the exception of through the years, the inserts have been phenomenal. I've been impressed with the 52 redo, the 69, the 70 years of Topps stuff I've seen.
These die cuts are bad.
I really hope they make an 80s in Series 2. I'm thinking about picking up the Reggie Jackson, which is a Yankee, just to have them because they're good looking. Really, really impressed. The base design sucks. We're not going to look on this one favorably 5-10 years from now. I mean, it's growing on you because it's what you have right now, but 6 months from now, you'll have plenty of other stuff to enjoy. But yeah, it's just, Series 1 is such a highlight of everybody's.
Sorry, I rolled away there. I agree. The parallels though with the borders, so much better. The Meyer purple ones, that Walmart Royal Blue one, I saw the Mother's Day one. They look awesome. By the way, so I pulled this Friday night, and I'm pretty excited about it. It's 86 silver pack, Will Clark out of 25 orange parallel. So it goes black to orange. That's why I wore my Giant stuff tonight. His awesome autograph. It's a sticker, but that's okay. It just looks like this is how the card should have looked. I'm in love with it. I had a lot of people reach out to want to buy it. I even had people steal the picture and drop it into some friends' DMs on Facebook and on Twitter, and them going, "Oh, that was I know the guy that has that card." So, no, that's pretty awesome. I had a lot of people trying to get it off me. I want to hold on to it. The only one that's sold I've seen so far was actually number 22 out of 25, which was his jersey number, but. This one is 12, which I believe is the number he wore with the Cardinals. It was with the Cardinals. So,
I figured I'd be heading down Southern California by now.
Yeah, possibly we've talked, but I don't know if I could let it go. That's the problem.
It's something like that.
I just want to hold on to it just a little bit. I mean, it's so pretty.
Yeah. I love Will Clark's signature. I need to get a McGuire-Clark duel. They've done them a couple of times. Our buddy Bayside is a huge Will Clark guy, and at the last show that I went to down in the Bay Area, I was able to coordinate a sale between our buddy Dion and Andrew as a third-party conduit, and he had some Will Clark stuff, and I'm just like, man, Will Clark's signature is pretty.
Yeah. And this even has the number in it, 22. So let's get into the week that was last week's releases. Topps Living Week 153. We had card 387, Alec Baum, rookie, third baseman from the Philadelphia Phillies, just over 4,900. And card 388, the retired Dustin Pedroia, second baseman for the Boston Red Sox, sold almost 2,300. Not a bad week. Again, like I said, this is a week we'd love to see as a former star, retired star, or rookie, or with a rookie. So there's that. We had 2021 Topps Series 1 baseball drop. We just covered that quite a bit. And 2020 Donruss Optic football, the $700 box product. So good luck now. Hot off the press is this week's new releases. Topps Living Week 154. We have card 389, Ian Anderson, rookie pitcher of the Atlanta Braves. And card 390, Byron Buxton of the Minnesota Twins. Steph was excited to see Byron on there. Rookie pitcher, not bad. You got a rookie in there. You have a former high draft pick that's not really lived up to expectations. At one time was he the number one prospect in baseball, and everybody was really excited about Buxton, and he's kind of been lackluster, to say the least, right? I mean, once he hit like 200, and
it's a good-looking card. It really is a sharp card. Big smile. It's fun, but he's going to be one of those guys. I mean, another guy who's very comparable is Billy Hamilton, right? A guy who hit the hobby scene and was ridiculous for 12 months, 18 months, and then all of a sudden he's just a guy, Yeah. I think Buxton's potential was so much higher than Hamilton's if we're just comparing the guys. Hamilton was but they had very little bat. A question about whether or not he could get on base enough to use that speed, but Buxton will probably carve out a nice career. It's not going to be anything memorable, Hopefully I'm wrong because, I pulled a Buxton Bowman Chrome Auto, the year that it was hot, and probably one of the best pulls that I had before I stopped opening altogether. But hopefully I'm wrong.
Yeah.
But he's had
I miss that. The average collector can't do that now. Just spontaneously buy a box of Bowman, just like, hey, I'm going to do that because it's $500 or $600 now, and the rip's not worth the reward most of the times anymore. And back then it was maybe $150 rep, $60 rep, and
I think I paid $85 for the box I got the Buxton out of, and I think I paid $60 for the Bowman draft that I pulled an Albert Almora auto out of. Again, we're talking quite a few years ago.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Long time ago. Let's see. We also have 2021 Panini Certified Basketball drop today. $500 a box, 10 packs per box, 5 cards per pack. You're going to get 1 rookie autograph, 1 additional autograph, 8 inserts, and 10 parallels. It's a 200-card base set. They use lots of foil. Legendary signatures go into NBA's past with all the retired players, and the insert set, the Mighty, it returns after 1 year absence. And then top players in the league get a gold team treatment insert card, which is pretty cool. Not bad. I mean, we saw we've seen basketball being like $600, $700, $800 a box. This being $500, but you're only getting 50 cards. It's still a pretty high price point. So,
well, and basketball has, a lot of this is secondhand. I haven't looked into this myself personally firsthand, but a lot of basketball seeing a 20-30% drop over the last couple of weeks, couple of months.
Yeah,
a lot of people are questioning why, and there's probably
this
a lot
draft
of
class is not good.
That doesn't help.
I mean, we've talked about this, right? So we were really, if you look back 17-18, when you had Mitchell and Tatum and Alonzo Ball, and at the time Markelle Fultz had some love. These guys really drove that, and De'Aaron Fox, they really drove that draft class. And they're good players. You look, Fultz got hurt. I think that he was getting there when he got to move to Orlando. He's never really been healthy in the NBA. But the other guys have, and they've done very well. And you look at 18-19, And you have Aiton's done well, Trey Young, some guy in Dallas named Lucas or Lucar, Luca, yeah, have done really, really well, right? I mean, all-stars. These guys, I mean, some of these guys are going to be perennial all-stars out of those two classes. And then you look at the 1920 class, and you have Zion and you have Jaw, who look okay. I don't think they're the same level as we thought they would be at this point. They look good, and then you've gotten a little bit deeper. There's been some other guys pop. And this class, I mean, you look, and we talked about this a couple of weeks ago. Like your best score is like scoring like 12 or 13 points a game, you know. And I don't. And these prices of the 2021 product are where the 18-19 product are now, or were maybe 6 months ago. And because people are expecting, like, well, they're going to get there anyway, so we might as well start there. And it's not the same class. It's not the same people. You look back at the 84 NBA draft. I mean, you had Jordan, you had Barkley, you had Olajuwon. There's years where you have 3, 4, or 5 really good players. And then you have a 1989 draft where you have Purvis Ellison, Sean Elliott, Tim Hardaway, and Sean Kemp. You know, are your top picks, and Danny Ferry. Like, it's okay. Like, Sean Elliott was a decent all-star, and Kemp was okay. I mean, Hardaway, I mean, like, but they're not all-time greats when you think about it. And so you have bad draft classes.
Yeah, I mean, as a Spurs fan, we don't win a championship without Sean Elliott. We also don't win a championship without Danny Green. But
what I'm saying is they're not driving the collecting market.
Yeah, those guys are the you know the guys that you have to have outside of your top 2 or 3 players. Those are your 5th, 6th guys on a roster. Granted, that kind of undersells a guy like Sean Elliott, who I think was a lot better than that.
I think he should be the first pick. I mean, that's who the Kings should take looking back hindsight.
You know, but a guy like Elliott, yeah, he's not going to be somebody that the hobby was going to buy at that time, and he's not somebody that collectors are going to look back and go seek. I don't think there's a whole lot of people hopping on eBay tonight looking up Sean Elliott or Vinny Del Negro.
Yeah, but my point was just that we're not going to have these draft classes full of all-stars every year.
You're not, and it shows just how artificially inflated these markets are. And it really speaks when people are like, oh, investing. No, it's arbitrage. You're buying at X with the intent to sell at Y as soon as you can, and then you cash out and you profit Z. That's what arbitrage is, right? You're buying and selling against, you know, short-term gains. An investment is something you put money into and hold for a long period of time. It shows just how artificial the basketball market was. It's inflated by a handful of players. In baseball, it's Bowman. You know, there's no long-term sustainability. There's no reason, and we've talked about this, to buy a Jason Dominguez card of a 16, 17-year-old kid who at best is 5 years away from making an impact at the major league level.
You didn't see that New York Times article? He's a better prospect at this point in time than Mike Trout.
Says who, though? Who are your
New York Times
saying? They must know.
I don't know. You had to pay like $3 to read the article. I wasn't going to waste my time because it's a joke. Because guess what? Jason Dominguez and I, you know what we have in common? We have the same number of professional baseball at bats.
Yeah. And you might end up, at least at the major league. Yeah, at the major league level, you might end up with the same amount of major league at bats. He's going to get professional at bats at the minor league level, but we very well might have as many at bats as him at the major league level because nothing is guaranteed.
No, yeah,
you know,
and so it's like we need to pump the brakes on some of this stuff. And I mean, Brian in the chat said that ultra modern has taken a dip, but the GOATs and the '90s cards have taken off like a rocket. Yeah, I mean, we've seen that, but again, it's like, to me, guys, those cards have been there, and 90 Fleer basketball was $5-10 a box 8 months ago, and now all of a sudden people are going insane when they're seeing, and then like 91, 92 Fleer basketball, that ugly blue and red set, those boxes people are going. I'm like, the only thing cool in there were the white Fleer, the Provisions that were in there. You know, there's no real great rookies in there, and it's like, okay, yeah, the Jordan's cool, but it's, you know how common all that stuff is.
You know, I got into a conversation since we were just talking about Dominguez really quick before we move on.
Yeah,
and and Ivan and a few other people hopped in. And, I've said on the show many times, I would rather pay today prices for Matt Chapman once he becomes an established star as an A's fan, versus paying 2014 prices where his debut is 3 years away and he's just a guy on a card that we don't know about, right? And I said, I'm not paying Jason Dominguez prices today. I would much rather pay his prices in 5 years once he has actual stats, and we can kind of, extrapolate and forecast his future with a lot more accuracy. And Ivan says, yeah, but now you're going to have to pay so much more money. I'm like, but I'm okay with that. Literally, you're not going to go to the car dealership and buy a car without an engine for $10,000, hoping that someday it's going to get the engine and you can drive it, right? Yeah. No, you would rather pay $20,000 for the car that comes with the engine that you can drive off the lot, because there's as good a chance at that $10,000 price point that car is never going to get that engine, and it becomes a $500 pound of or a pile of scrap metal. Why would you pay $1,200? Somebody called me out. When I wrote an article for Prospects 1500, and I ranked Robert Posson as the 7th best A's prospect going into the 2021 season. Sheldon Noyce hadn't been traded yet, so he was, number 3. And he's like, "Why isn't Posson 1 or 2?" And I'm like, "Because he's 17 years old. Yeah. He hasn't played. It's like, why would he? Why does he deserve to be any higher?" And the A's have like the 29th, 30th. I mean, they're in the bottom 3 or 4 as far as their farm goes. But why does he deserve to be higher? He's done nothing. And why, if we pull that over into the hobby, why would you pay prices for that? I'll give you money for that Will Clark card you showed, because we know what Will Clark was.
Yeah. No, I agree with you.
I'm not giving you for Bob Clark. Bob Clark hasn't played yet.
Yeah. No, you get these points, and then on some of these guys, it's you're like last week. You and Gary V agreed on something. One of his buddies asked him if he'd had any. He's like, no. He's like, it's just pure. I love bringing it up because it drives you crazy that you and Gary V agreed on something. But it's a good point now, and if you collect and you want to go get Dominguez and you want to go get these young prospects, and that's how you like to collect because you like that thrill of being the guy like, hey, I knew about that cool band before anybody else did, right? Because I have all of these cards. That's completely fine. Like our buddy Tony's Hobby Vault was all over Darius Baisley, like I think the day he was born. I don't know. And, and then he started taking off, and he had the greatest crazy Darius Baisley rookie cards, over the last year. And he was ahead of he saw something. So my thing is collect how you want, what you want to do, but just caution yourself. When somebody's comparing a guy with 0 professional at-bats with probably arguably the best player in baseball, and the guy doesn't have, you've never seen him play. Real quick, and people always go, well, Dominguez looks the part. Bubba Starling, 6'5", 200 and something pounds, star quarterback and baseball player, had a full ride to Nebraska, number 5 pick to the Royals. He's from Kansas. He's going to go play at Nebraska, or he's going to play for the Royals. He's going to be in the outfield. He's going to be the center fielder for 20 years. It took him, 2010 draft, and he wasn't. It took him 10 minor league seasons to get to the majors, and he's just maybe like a 4th or 5th outfielder at this point.
Yeah, I mean, look at AJ Puck.
Dude, and Tony's listening. What's up, Tony? That's awesome. What's up, buddy?
I love AJ Puck. I've met him a handful of times, and he's been nothing but gracious to myself and my family. Absolutely love the guy as a human being. He's a really good kid, and I wish him the best, whether that's in the A's system or another team, which is highly likely being an A's fan. But he can't stay healthy, and he's Randy Johnson 2.0 if this man can stay healthy, but he hasn't yet.
You remember? Go ahead.
No, I was saying that's the issue with projecting these guys. And yeah, Jason Dominguez can look the part all he wants. That doesn't mean squat. You got to be able to do it on the field.
I remember going to a River Cats game. Now, at the time they were the AAA team for the A's, and they were playing the Tacoma Rainiers. Starting that night was Danny Holtzen, number 3 overall pick, and catching that night was number 2 overall pick, Mike Zanino. Zanino hits a grand slam. It was awesome. Holtzen's just dominating. And Zanino makes it to the majors, and he can't hit his weight, but he can hit home runs, and he's down with Tampa, I think, now. And Holtzen ends up just like destroying his shoulder. And I know he was with the Cubbies last year. He was finally got to make a major league debut. But we're talking these guys, again, were top picks in the early 2010s for the Mariners, and we're going to be, your ace or your number 2 pitcher and your catcher. Another guy I can say is somebody says Yankees high too. Like, remember, was his name Jesus Montero, who was traded straight up for Michael Pineda? Like, that was the biggest prospect trade like ever. And then Pineda's been hurt. He's been okay. And Montero just got fat. Like, he was like, I'm just going to be fat. And I mean, I'm a big fat guy and I can't say anything, but like, he was a professional baseball player and just didn't. Yeah. He just was like, I don't care.
If I gain 5 pounds, it's not a big deal, other than to my family, right? But if one of these guys gain 5 pounds, it potentially is a big deal depending on what sport they play and what position they're playing. But yeah, I mean,
we have one more new release to hit before. Actually, we have 2 more before we hit tonight. But I was really hoping Steph was going to be here because this is a great conversation. But we have a lot of awesome topics to cover tonight as well. So we have 1920 Upper Deck the Cup, $1,000 a box, 1 pack per box, 6 cards per pack. You're going to get 2 autographed patch cards. It's a 158 card base set, super premium product with lots of on-card autographs, memorabilia, and low serial numbered cards. They have emblems of endorsement and limited logos that have been pretty much the cornerstone of the autograph patch series. This year, new in the cup is NHL collection. Those are inserts numbered out of 35 or less. The cup reaches back to its roots for some design inspiration. This year's there's rookie patch tribute lineups that reach back to previous years. There was a whole bunch of years there. And notable nameplates take a letter from the back of the jersey and put them in a card. So, I mean, this is like the premium hockey product that's out there. There are people that only collect the cup. It's one of the best releases out for hockey. 2020, and it's from last year. It's 1920, not 2021, 1920. It's always the last one. It gets intertwined late because of all the on-card autos they want. 2020 Panini Limited football drops on Friday. $400 a box, 3 packs per box, 5 cards per pack, 2 autos, a mem, and a parallel. It's a 100-card base set, and they're going to be on the thicker stock. Autographs and mem are the focal points of the release. There's 1 autograph. There will be either a Ring of Honor or it's a rookie patch autograph. Rookie patch autographs have on-card signatures of premium swatches. The Ring of Honor also have on-card signatures from top players and from the past and present. And there's partnership dual booklets that highlight 2 teammates. And there's also draftee signature booklets that combine an autograph, which is on acetate, with images from the moments the players were picked. So if you want a Joey Burrow draft day moment card, it'll be on acetate with his auto, which is kind of cool looking. So make sure you're checking out Ryan Cracknell's articles on Beckett.com/news for more details on these releases. What's brewing next week's releases: 2020 Panini plates and patches football, and 2021 Panini Donruss basketball, which is like a $7 billion box. Come out next week. We're into the Infield Chatter, a hobby talk section part of the show, which is I think our favorite. And we've kind of had that already with Ben and I tonight, which I love talking it. So there was the state of trading cards. So Forbes Sports tweets out in its state of trading cards report, eBay announced its trading card category grew by 142% in 2020, with over 4 million cards sold compared to the prior year. Further proof that 2020 was a historic year for this booming business. There's an article on Forbes that you can read. I'll drop the link in the chat, but it just kind of goes on. And if you sell on eBay, they sent it out. But yeah, it's been a crazy year with sports cards. And I told a story, or I put a real quick tweet out yesterday. I went to the post office and I was dropping off a bunch of orders and you know, it was like 50 some odd orders I was dropping off, and this guy says something to me as I'm leaving. He goes, "Hey, trading cards?" And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "I thought so. I saw your bubble mailers and your PWEs, as I hear they're called." And I was like, "Oh yeah." He's like, "Yeah." He just got back in, so he collected through the 2000s. Like he's like, "Yeah, I was collecting like when LeBron and Bosch were playing," and he goes, "I got out of it." And he goes, "I'm, you know, going back through my old stuff, and I'm, you know, trying to figure the ways out." We talked for a few minutes, and you know, it's good to have these collectors coming back too that were collecting then, because like a lot of us weren't collecting then. So it just, he said like his buddies have gotten into it because they've gotten bored with, they can't go. He's like, "We can't go do the stuff we were doing." He goes, "We were, you know, they were like," he said, "they were avid like golfers, and that some of that stuff got shut down. They've been able to do that." And he's like, "We were also really big into going to concerts. Like they would travel." And he's like, "We can't. There's no concerts to go to, you know." And so he's like, you know, you have all this money and you're bored. What are you going to do?" Right. And it was just kind of like, we were already in it, and talking to somebody that's just now getting back into it. It was pretty interesting. So not surprised that we've had, last year was an extraordinary year on eBay. 40 million. So at Sports Cards tweets out the Chernin Group invests $40 million dollars in growth capital in Golden Auctions. Ken Golden is selling a majority stake in Golden Auctions, an 8-year-old shop dedicated to auctioning off collectibles and trading cards in particular. To the Chernin Group, a Los Angeles-based investment firm. Chernin leads a blockbuster group of investors, including basketball star Kevin Durant, Dallas Mavericks owner Mark Cuban, YouTube co-founder Chad Hurley, YouTube star Logan Paul, and podcaster Bill Simmons. Now, real quick, why weren't we asked about this? I can say this about, what was it been, like 3 months ago, Chernin reached out to us, and I actually had a conversation with someone from the Chernin Group for about 30 to 45 minutes about trading cards, because they were looking to do something big. And I pointed them into the direction of a couple of people to talk to that have money that I, you know, because I don't have it. But what's even funnier, in my real day-to-day life at a previous employer, the Chernin Group was a group I worked with their healthcare coverage, and some of the folks. And so I kind of knew some of the folks around there, and, you know, kind of name dropped that guy. And he's like, "Oh, yeah." And so, you know, it's kind of funny now to see this come full circle. Golden had a comment, said, we have something the hobby has never seen before. All of a sudden, we're cool. We're part of pop culture. A flood of wealthy people seeking alternative investments, ranging from Bitcoin to song catalogs, has descended on sports collectibles. Many of these were raised during the first trading card boom in the 80s. Only this time the market has benefited from a growing interest in contemporary players and new sports. Now, I can say that like that song catalog thing was all started, like, that's crazy too. Like, you know, think like I can own all of the Beatles songs, like what Michael Jackson did to the Beatles, which was
McCartney.
Yeah, they were recording that song together. Oh my god.
They did Ebony and Ivory. They did The Girl Is Mine. They took
The Girl Is Mine.
Yeah.
And he was asking, he goes, I guess Michael asked Paul, like, how much do you think the Beatles catalog would be worth? And he's like, 60 million. And like the next day or the day after, they're recording, and he's like, "Why, you bought the Beatles?" And he was all mad because Michael went out and bought all of the catalog of the Beatles. And he goes, "Well, you said 60. I gave you 64.
Well, the interesting part of that was that everybody knows songwriting is really where the real money is. The people that go out on tours and just sell their face and sell their talent, you know, they're not making much money. And if you ever want to watch a great documentary on YouTube Premium, there's that great one on the Backstreet Boys and NSYNC and their forget the guy's name, but their manager. And how they just got screwed. They were out there, and everybody in the world knew their names, and they had like no money. They'd have like one check for $10,000 a piece, and everything was being paid for. So they had access to everything, but they had no actual money themselves. And that's what McCartney told Jackson was, you know, where you really want to do is you want to buy the rights to this music in perpetuity is great. And unfortunately, Jackson outbid McCartney for the rights when I think it was Apple Records or whoever had put them up for auction. And whoops. And they were good buddies. You know, they had done a couple of songs together, and then not anymore.
Yeah, and Kevin has a comment in here. It says that these groups are consuming everything with a vacuum cleaner. It's being gobbled up. I mean, it's true. Like, you have people with this kind of money hopping in and being able to buy stuff, and that's why I think we're seeing where you can have that. We laughed earlier with that partial ownership of a 52 mantle, right? And it's not something that I want to be involved with. And I know later in this article that they talked about, they were going to sell cards from the $50 to $500,000 range. That's what they were going after. The way I collect, I mean, outside of a handful of George Brett's, rarely do I get into a $50 or higher card. It's just the way I collect. But it brings up an interesting point. What are these guys going to go after? Like, if you have like a 1-of-1 patch auto of, say, Dan Marino, right? And it might have been a $1,000 card. Is that something that these groups know that, like, hey, like, I can go out and I can buy this for $1,000. Now I have the only one, but I can buy all 10 that are out there, a different 1-of-1s from Dan Marino. And now I kind of corner the market, and now they're $2,500 because that's what I'm going to value them at. And I have 10 of them. So now I can be the one in the market with all of them.
And I think, okay, so I don't know the inner workings of this deal, but when you see certain names bandied about, Kevin Durant signed with Golden State because he was promised all kinds of money from Silicon Valley, and they were going to get into all different kinds of investments. That's why the Bay Area was so attractive to him. And, he doesn't surprise me as much. The one that surprises me in this deal is a guy like Mark Cuban, because he's not in this for the long term. He's in this to be able to make money on top of money. He's going to be an 18-month investor and cash out. That's what guys like Cuban do outside of, sports ownership, right? And that's what they're going to do. What I would think that they're going to do is they're going to buy up a lot of the the Luka Prism rookies and sit on them for a short period of time. And they're going to, it's arbitrage, right? They're going to buy them for $1,000. They're going to try to secure enough of the market share to where this product goes up to $1,500. Then they cash out at $500. It's not pump and dump as much as it's, if they buy up enough market share, there's not enough to go around. Right.
Well, yeah, Kevin said he last year was looking at a 78 Topps Walter Payton, and there might have been 30 or 40 available. Now there's like 7 in the lower tier.
See, so the difference between a pump and dump is I've got all of these 1987 Topps Maguires, and man, Tim, you don't even know. Right now, I'm buying them all for $1, and if you don't get in on this gravy train right now, it's going to leave the station. But the difference is you don't know that I'm sitting on 753 of these, right? I'm just telling you this is the next big thing. I know I have 753, and then once you start buying them and other people start buying them, then I'm going to flood the market at a significant enough of a profit, 3x, 4x, whatever I'm comfortable with, and that's how pump and dump works. So with this particular one, Kevin says it's hoard and trickle out. Yeah, you're going to, if I can secure 20, 30% of the market, creating artificial scarcity as good as gold suggests, right? You create this artificial market, this FOMO. I didn't need one yesterday, but I feel like I need one today. I better go out and get it, because if I don't get this Luka at $1,500, it's going to be $2,000 before I know it. It's going to be $5,000. It's going to be $10,000. Oh my God, I better go get it for $1,500. And then they release them in waves, right? I'm going to release 5 in the market, then I'm going to release 3, and they're going to capitalize on the difference. That's what arbitrage is, right? I'm just going to get 300, 500 a card because I've got 100 of these. It's different than it's the antithesis of a pump and dump, although they're on the same grocery store aisle. It's still about controlling a portion of the market. It's just about how you sell it and how you release them. And that's what this group's going to do. They're going to buy up a lot of inventory, and then they're going to be able to sit on it and then they're going to watch the prices climb, and then they're going to make a 33% profit, 50% profit, but they're going to do it at such a large scale. We're talking about cards in the thousands, not in the tens. Not the dollar boxes. They're not buying a dollar card to sell it for $5. They're buying 1,000 to sell it for 5,000. They just have to wait out the market over 6 months. And because you're talking about people with a lot of money, they don't need that return right away.
Yeah, no, and I agree. I think that, and they're gonna target. They're always going to. With right now is the best time to be kind of a contrarian collector, because you need to go opposite of what everything else is going. When it's going one way, you need to go in the other, because what's going to happen is you can get yourself really hurt, or just kind of stay out of it altogether. The best thing I saw was an article about some guy in security guard in Maryland that took out a $20,000 personal loan to buy GameStop stock at like $300 a share or some stupid amount, hoping it would go to $500. And this guy has investments and has a pretty decent portfolio, but he didn't want to take money out to go do this. And he got his ass handed to him, because then it dropped to like $82 a share. Now, had he bought in at 16, right, that's kind of like the price of what GameStop probably should be. And then all this shorting and stuff went on, and all the Reddit people hopped in and kind of blew up the market. I have a similar feeling with some of these cards. Like, if you don't know cards and you don't know stocks, and you think that because everybody else is making money off of this player, that you're going to be able to hop in midway, or because you don't know when midway or halfway or when it's completely done, when that runs over, and you don't want to be the last one holding the bag. And I have a feeling that's what's going to happen to some people that are going to wait. They're going to see this, and they're going to finally like, oh, it's like the cool trend, like, but that trend was awesome. Like, Devil Wears Prada, one of my favorite movies of all time. She, what's her name? The girl comes in. My God, her name's falling out of my head right now.
Close?
No, it's
I've never
Anne
seen
Hathaway. Okay, Anne Hathaway comes in, and she's wearing this like blue color, and she goes, "Oh, you're wearing so and so blue," and Meryl Streep's like, "You're wearing so and so blue," and she's like, "Oh yeah, I just call it blue," and she's like, "Well, we picked that color out 9 months ago, and it went through all these stages, and now it made its way to the clearance outlet where you obviously bought this." And that's where it is. The people in the know are 9, 10, 12 months ahead of where some people are now going, oh, I should buy that because everybody else is, because now they're getting out and it's getting to the masses. And once it gets out there, then everybody has moved on to something else. And you're now behind, and you've now paid $300 for a $50 card. So
just assume that if you're getting the information today, just assume that you're late to the you're late to the dinner table, and everybody's already got there first, and you're, they're working on their thirds while you're working on your first plate.
And that's why I say never let others influence your collecting or tell you how to collect. Now, you can't be influenced by them and get inspired by how somebody collects, because that's how I started when I got back in. I redefined my collecting, but don't have that. It's really hard not to have that fear of missing out, the FOMO there, but be smart. Ask a friend. Say, hey, listen, do you think this is a trend? Do you think this is something that I should be involved in, or do you think it's something I should wait out? And
there's a difference between being influenced by, say, and I know we'll get into it in a little bit, but like, say, Project 70, which is just Project 2020 on steroids with, more artists and whatnot. Should I buy this particular one? Right? I bought the what's the set that they're doing where they're releasing like a card a month now. They just did Babe Ruth. They've done Acuna. Game within the game or whatever it is.
Yeah, they have about 1,000 different releases. So
I bought the Babe Ruth the other day because it was a nice looking card and it was $8. That's not being influenced by somebody else. That's kind of going out of your comfort zone a little bit, and it's different between picking up a whole new PC, so to speak, a whole new collection avenue just because other people are. And just real quick, I want to make a quick correction. We're talking about Michael Jackson and McCartney. McCartney and Jackson on the Thriller album did A Girl Is Mine together. And on McCartney's album, it wasn't Ebony and Ivory. I misspoke. It was Say, Say, Say. Ebony and Ivory were Stevie Wonder and Paul McCartney. I knew as I was saying that didn't sound right, but I couldn't think of the song Say, Say, Say. So that was the one in the video. I think they dressed up like clowns or something like that. But anyway, I just want to make that correction for anybody out there listening.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm afraid of the average collector just getting run over.
Oh, yeah.
And destroyed. Like that, and what's going to happen is it's going to be all these people returning or in for the first time are going to see all these big names doing things and thinking they have to spend the money to keep up with these people. Like my friend Brian that was on last week, he's like, I feel like I feel like, and it's like, pump the brakes. You don't have, if you're not in that realm, then don't try to play in that realm. It's like playing poker. If you can afford the $5 hand, don't try to go play with the $25 hand. Yeah. Or shit, even the $500 hand. Like,
sit at the comfortable. You're be at the. Don't drop $10 in the slot machine. Go play the penny machines. If that's where you're comfortable. Yeah,
and so it's just like, by the way, Steph will not be with us tonight. He the internet's not good, and I told him, hey, conserve your phone because you don't know when you're going to lose power again. So I don't want him to without the phone and stuff. So he will not be joining us tonight. But he's alive. He got his Whataburger tonight.
He did.
So he had to wait like an hour, but he got Whataburger in him, so he's good. He's just cold.
It was Angela's birthday. He had to. The missus wants, the missus gets, right? Yeah. There was I had posted a picture the other day of the Bryce Harper through the years insert, right? And it's a gorgeous card that's depicted. It's an auto relic. I think it's a triple relic or something. And I had made just kind of a sarcastic comment about being a dollar heir, right? And somebody that doesn't follow me saw it somehow, that's how Twitter works. And he's like, what are you talking about? That's a great card. He goes, there's no way that's a $2 card. And I'm like, I made a comment like the Justin Timberlake gif, right? I'm like, it's absolutely a $2 card. And he's like, are you serious right now? He goes, dude, that's a great auto relic, right? And so it's like, obviously, he didn't understand what he was looking at. Yeah. And so when you say the average collector is going to get run over, you have manufactured crap like these inserts, but then you have artificial scarcity and artificial markets, and you have fear of missing out, and you have all of these outside extenuating variables. CNBC's picking it up, Forbes is picking it up, Bloomberg's picking it up. Okay, we want to talk about pumping the brakes. Are we going to be talking about regulations here in a little bit? Because I don't want to jump the ship. Otherwise.
No, we're not talking regulations because
So basically, without going down that rabbit hole too much, we're going to be regulated in this hobby sooner rather than later. We've talked about this for the last few years. It's not, this hobby's not regulated. This industry's not regulated. Hey, folks, it's coming. Because once these major outlets and guys like Cuban all of a sudden are now attached to the hobby, and Bill Simmons is on his podcast, serious names, not the Darren Ravels of the world, but now you got Mark Cuban. He's attached to the hobby now. Guess what's going to happen? All of a sudden, state legislators are going to start looking at this. Breaking is going to have serious regulations coming down the pipeline. You're going to have IP tracking and all kinds of things, because breaking has always been on the fence as to whether or not it's in violation of state gambling and lottery laws. Razes, fatal four-ways, all of this other garbage crap you see on Facebook absolutely is in violation, but nobody's paying attention. So nobody really cares. But I'm going to tell you what, Tim and I live in California, where taxes, right now I'm surprised they're not taxing our show. Earmuffs if Newsom's out there, because we're doing it in California. We're live from California, and if they think they can tax it, newsflash, we don't make any money off this show. So if somebody is out there listening, there's nothing to get. Okay, but
we should be paying people to listen.
Taxes on top of taxes. It's going to happen. There will be regulations coming down soon, and now all of the people are like, hell, what's this $10.99 in my mailbox from the PayPal? It's like, hey, I've been saying it for years. I'm not the only one saying it on Twitter. This is reportable income. I'm not saying you need to put it on your taxes, but now that $10.99 is in fact saying that. So guess what? It's going to be a whole new world The more these people get involved, the more people are like, oh, this is great, bigger and better. Let all this, external money come in. It's great for the hobby. You're a hobby gatekeeper. Okay, this is what we've been warning against all of this time. You want all this excess money coming in? Cool, you got it now. You can't find boxes. You got Brent Williams going out of business. You got Bill Simmons and Mark Cuban buying golden auctions. Guess what? The IRS is coming. State legislators are coming, and it's going to happen sooner rather than later. You're going to have SEC-type regulations in this hobby within the next 2 to 3 years, if not like by the end of this fiscal year.
Funny thing, though, is that The Ringer has a podcast. And they were talking about trading cards, and they were saying to like buy like vintage cards because they go up 5 to 6% every year. Like, it's been like that for, I don't know, ever. Like, as far as I remember collecting, not a lot of people, like when I was a kid, not a lot of people liked vintage. They all wanted the new stuff. And again, we're back there where everybody wants the new stuff, and everybody's kind of, and some people have gotten on the thing about vintage and looking back. But vintage is like invest, like if you had to compare it to like investing in stuff, it's like investing in like gold and silver, and it might not jump big time. It's not like investing in Bitcoin, but it's going to be strong and steady for quite a while. And owning a Mickey Mantle is a lot better than owning a Jason Dominguez. And I don't care what Mickey Mantle you're owning. If it was during his playing days, it's going to be probably in the long run a lot better than any Jason Dominguez cards you can own. So just to give you a heads up. Pausing services, Baseball Card Exchange tweeted out, please visit their website for an update on authentication services moving forward. We're making the unfortunate decision to pause certain services beginning February 19th. Please feel free to ask any questions. Thank you. I went on their site and I pulled some stuff. It says, we all know when the pandemic started last March, our hobby industry went crazy. While many, many industries took a beating, our market got scorching hot. However, this has happened in the last couple of months and well beyond that. The growth I saw take place in this industry over the last 30 years has now been surpassed in the past 8 weeks. I've never seen anything like it, but it has brought several logistic nightmares. Anybody who uses third-party grading has dealt with some disappointment and frustration. The turnaround times have gotten worse than we expected. Bulk submissions since and today may not come back until Christmas. 20-day submissions, hopefully, will get to you by the MLB All-Star game. In reality, is there's no blame you can give them. The amount of submissions they are getting daily surpasses what they used to get in a month. The demand to have your cards graded is so high that grading companies are overwhelmed. Moving forward, we will have to implement some restrictions on what we can be submitted. We don't want to completely pause the whole process. We just must tweak a few things so we can catch up before the whole process crashes. It's crazy. They go on to talk about boxes and stuff. I just think that, it's at least they're stopping. Like, they're slowing down because they realize like it's too much. I want to get into PSA. There was a backlog at Florida Card Guy tweeted out, I just got off the phone with PSA to check in an order just to update anyone interested here. They are currently processing economy grading submissions from July 27th, 2020.
That's funny because that's how far Twins Jake is backed up too.
December, January.
He's counting, folks.
That's 8 months. Like, basically, the birth of a child can happen in the time it takes PSA to grade your cards.
Yeah. What's funny is there was that lawsuit that happened with those two chuckleheads and Panini about redemptions, right? And my argument was all you need is one dim-witted economist, dim-witted financial advisor, anybody that thinks they know anything, going up there that because basically their argument in that lawsuit was, what happens when I pull a card today, say January 1st, and it's got an estimated market worth of X, and you don't give me that card till say July 1st, 6 months later, and now it's tanked. You're costing me money, as opposed to the live card, which I can sell immediately at current market worth. And my thought was, you put one financial expert up on there that says, so you're telling me then you're going to write them a check if it appreciates over that time, because you would have sold it in January and now it's worth exponentially more in July, because that railroad goes both ways on the train tracks. And it's the same thing here, right? I submit something in July to PSA, and if I get a PSA 10 in whatever, Bob Smith, Bob Clark, and it goes up, great. That's great for Florida Card Guy when he gets his cards, right? But it's also not good if he submitted them with the intent to resell them. And that's exactly what he does, right? And that's part of what he does is he buys and sells, and he gets them graded in between. And 8 months is a long, long time, especially in this hobby, where things work on a 7 to 10 day window.
Yeah, I saw somebody say, like, okay, with the grading stuff is that, and I found this funny, because you have to put an estimated value of what the card's worth. So when you go through, because that's how they grade it and whatever. So say the card's worth $100 today when you grade it. But by the time they get to the grading it, what if it's worth $1,000? Sure. Are they going to ask for more money?
Or if they're asking for money based on its value, what happens if what happens if this kid, Brian Taylor's himself, right?
Yeah.
I mean, again, the sliding.
I don't know. I just want, if you're put a pause on your grading, because again, we talked about the new timetables. What a 2-day submission means was like 2 weeks. Then just call it 2 weeks. Don't call it 2 days. It might be in the hands of your grader for 2 days. But why call it 2 days when it's going to be 2 weeks for the person to get the card back? I don't know. It's crazy. I'm excited here. Pokemon tweets out, play Pokemon, return the printers back on, baby. They said, we're aware some fans are experiencing difficulties purchasing certain Pokemon TCG products due to very high demand. In response, we are reprinting impacted products at maximum capacity to ensure more fans can enjoy Pokemon TCG, which I think it's the trading card game. Yes, you know what this means? We can flip that printer back on. It's the 1990s all over again, my friends. I need a board in 1989 Ken Griffey's. Oh, hold on, guys. Let's turn the printer on. 6 million copies. Print. Let's go. I'm going to make more money. Who gives a shit if the card's worthless in 2 years? I got all the money already.
It really feels like when I used to work at Hostess, and I tell people all the time, don't buy the $4 loaf of bread, even though I make more commission off of it, because it's the same bread that you get in that $1 bag. It just doesn't say Wonder Bread on it. It says, random generic name on it. Okay. And I had people, this one lady yelled at me in an aisle one time when I told her this. She's like, you don't know what you're talking about. Lady, I was there this morning loading my truck and I saw them change, from this bag to this bag, and it's the same wheat going into that bag. I'm telling you this. And that's really what this feels like. Is like right now it's on Pokemon. As soon as Pokemon's done, they're going to throw the printing plates in there for the 89 Upper Deck Griffey, and then they're going to throw the 1990 Donruss in next, because that's the one that works overnight.
2013 Triple Play.
And just in case you're one of those people that are buying Pokemon cards out of the back door of McDonald's and not through the front door, degenerates.
Those people, those people should get punched in the groinal area daily. Brian says in the chat.
Well,
go ahead.
Andrew reaches out to me the other day, Bayside Breakers, and he's like, "Do people not realize you can get like the whole gold foil set right now on eBay for like $60, and people are on Facebook groups trying to flip this for, tens and hundreds and thousands depending on the quantities." And it's just like, listen, people, what are you doing? You're buying this crap, and nobody just buy the set if that's like what you're after.
That's like when you're looking up a card and there's a bunch of auctions and there's like a day left and there's 15 bids on it and the card's like $12.75, but you go look at the buy it now and it's $13 with free shipping. It's like, I'm gonna go buy the card with free shipping. Brian in the chat says that he has a friend that works at PSA and he might surprise, but graders spend 30 seconds max looking at a particular card. No, I'm not surprised, Brian. I'm not surprised. They don't. Yeah, they're. Yep. Okay, good, because they got 6 bazillion cards to look at now. So, anyway, I'm just really happy Pokemon said, "Hey, we're turning the printers back on," and because it's there.
Some jackass was on Facebook the other day selling the Pokemon cards out of the cereal boxes, and he's like, I'm selling these for whatever, and it was a super ass inflated price. But then he's like, I'm also currently in talks with a local church to donate all of the cereal, and I'm just like, no, you're not, and I'm not buying from you because of this made up story to try to make yourself, look good on the backside. But it was hilarious.
Carolina Card Exchange 1 says, is this real life? Who are you people? And I want to know who these people are as well. 2012 or 2011 Topps update, US 205 DJ LeMahieu rookie card PSA 10 sold for $635. 42 people bid on it, and then another one sold the same day for $499, and it was a PSA 10. What? He's a 31-year-old one-time batting champion who he stole because he didn't play the last day of the year. He's been on a couple-time All-Star. Are you kidding me? He's not going to be a Hall of Famer. Are you drunk?
Right now, if you were a mob boss in the 1950s, if you could take a time machine into 2021, the trading card hobby online is the perfect way for you to launder your blood money.
When you also have a Ricky Henderson 1980 Topps rookie that sold for was $110,000.
Yeah, something like that.
It's the Padres.
That's where the Padres are getting all their money right now. We need to look into whether or not they're buying and selling cards.
Yeah, I don't understand. Like, okay, LeMahieu's a decent MLB player. He's a good MLB player. Don't get me wrong. If you were in a contending team, you'd want him to be your second baseman.
Yeah,
guy, what has he done in the last? I know he's had good seasons, but he's not. It's stupid, and there's a ton of other players out there like this, and I personally don't understand. So I have a feeling people are. It's like, what was that Wayfair thing where people were selling, like outdoor couches for like $10,000, and they're like, oh no, that's actually a child they're selling, or whatever that thing was going around on the internet. That's what it reminds me of. It's like, is there a secret code in there? They're not seeing that's what that means.
Well, the whole Jose Uribe, right? That was always seen
printed
as a
in Canada
for people to launder money, and whether there's any truth behind that or if it's just internet funnies, I don't know, but there's shenanigans going on here all the time because people aren't really paying $500 for a LeMahieu. They're not. Either it's not getting paid for, or it's a shill bidding.
Yeah,
it's something. If it's money laundering, we don't know, but it's not somebody out there named Ben or Tim that's buying this for $500 and going, "Honey, I got a great deal."
Yeah, I like being here because auctions are where people are setting false prices. I don't trust them at all. Buy it now are more likely accurate. And the reason I agree with that is that, so I know, say Ben, I tell Ben, hey, listen, I have this DJ LeMahieu, and I need you to bid it up to like $650, okay? And then you're going to pay me, and I'm going to give you the money, and then you're going to pay me, but I'm never going to give you the card, okay? And then I'm going to go back, and I'm going to sell it now for $300 to somebody and say, look, the last one sold at this. I'm going to hook you up and give you the deal at $300. It's really maybe $100 card, but now that also could be going on. I have stopped all auctions on my site, on my eBay store, and I'm all buy it now. If it's a single card, it's buy it now with best offers, because I want to take the instant money. Somebody that's going to put an offer in. If it's a fair thing, I'm going to take it and move on. I don't want to sit on auctions due to the fact of this. I am not getting in auctions myself, buying cards for this reason. I much rather maybe pay $1 or $2 more to buy it outright and not have to worry about the auction or being, it goes into a bidding battle and you're like, oh, yeah, I got to have it. And I don't want to do that. So I've kind of steered away from that lately because of these things. And it's like, I have friends reaching out and I go, I look at this daily. I talk to people all over the country about this, and people have collected a lot longer and a lot more consistently than I have, and they have no idea. I talked to Greg the other day, Ben, at the LCS. He's been in the hobby since he's never taken a paycheck in his entire life. He's always been a 1099er since he was 18 years old, and it's all come from, a big majority of it has come from trading cards. So we're going back into the 80s, and he's like, I'm even confused. He goes, some of the stuff is just stupid right now. Well, and he goes, I'm taking full advantage of it. I'm going to tell you that right now because he goes, there's some super lean years. And he's like, you got to strike while the iron's hot because day to day, he goes, I don't even know. Day to day, it changes.
Well, and if you follow me on Twitter, you've probably seen my pin tweet or something along the lines of, about eBay sold listings being the best we have for comps. And I think people take those words to the extreme, thinking that comps are the Bible. Or they just say, well, if the last one sold for $30, then this is a $30 card. And you really have to understand how to look at comps. I even illustrated this a couple of weeks ago. He said that there was a jump in the Mike Trout, and a couple sold for whatever it was, $5,000, $6,000, and then somebody paid $8,000. He's like, those $5,000 and $6,000 comps were not real; they were never paid for. Whoever paid that $8,000 ended up getting screwed. And I might be off on the actual amounts, but you get the idea that this person paid a lot more based on the previous comp. You have to be able to analyze a comp and understand what it is. If 3 or 4 of them have sold in short order for this, a similar price within a fair plus or minus, you have to look at the card because every card is different. If it's a numbered card, that might mean that those comps are lower to the next one sold versus higher to the next one. You never know. You have to analyze the individual variables on a card by card basis, or whatever it is you're buying. Maybe it's not trading cards at all. Maybe it's toy trains or stamps or other collectibles. It's not always comparatively linear. And you have to understand that a lot of these cards are not like your DJ LeMahieu example. Did it sell at $500 or did it get paid for at $500? Because there's two completely different arguments, and people are overpaying just because, well, the last comp says X, and right now, a lot of the buy it nows are, I think, artificially inflated because people are trying to get their money back. These iconic patch cards out of Series 1 are a perfect example of how much more they're selling for right now versus update. I think I paid $12 to $15 a piece for the Murphy and the Luzardo. I think you sold me the Sean Murphy, in fact, out of update. And they made 4 A's, Canseco, McGuire, Henderson, and Jackson. And I got lucky on the Henderson through a listener. I got the Jackson for $10 at auction. But the Canseco I had to pay $22 for, and the McGuire I had to pay $30 for. And none of them are going to auction. None are going to auction because I don't think anybody wants to take a hit on their rate of return. They need as much money out of these cards because otherwise they're gonna be in the red.
Yeah. No, I mean, I can tell you, I've been looking at the Posey and the Brett, and I haven't pulled the trigger because I don't want to spend $20 on them. They're $20 to $30. I'm waiting it out. And like I was trying to go after the Shore Prince in Series 2 for my team sets, and I've been waiting on those. I still need a Brett. I bought one. I found one for $15. I was like, well, I'm gonna hop on that right now because they've been 30 plus. It's just been crazy. Like, I don't know. I mean, I'm gonna run all day selling cards, and I have let a lot of basketball cards go lately. I'm getting ready to let some baseball cards go. I'm working on that as we speak, and to post those as spring training kicks off here, because people are going to spend money. And I know that the ones I'm selling, I have duplicates of, but I know if I want to go back and get that 4th or 5th copy of it, then in a couple years I will be able to do that. If you want, if I want, I might move on to something else. Yeah, I have one of my buddies. Yeah, one of my buddies, Dan Bell's been DMing me 1970s through 76 Topps that he has that I need, and that's where I'm taking a lot of this ultra modern, just modern cards, like whatever. I'm taking that money and putting it back into these 70s sets, because I have a feeling those are going to dry up really quick, and those are going to be a lot harder to find in the future than going back and trying to find Vlad Guerrero cards. So I don't know. The best thing that's happened to trading cards in the last, I don't know, decade, standard envelope shipping on eBay. Dude, the coolest thing ever. Now, there was a small there was a small learning curve when selling this way, and I'll go through kind of what I've been through, and having 100 some odd of these run this last couple of days. So you can offer, if the card's under $20 and under 3 ounces, you can ship it in a standard envelope with tracking for as much as 91 cents it's going to cost you out of pocket. That's 3 ounces. 2 ounces is 71, 1 ounce is 51. I've been charging like a flat dollar shipping with the tracking, and I've had tons of sales with it. And the reason I do that is because I make sure that I put a card in a top loader to put in the envelope before I send it out. So it's going to have some protection to the card as it's shipped. But these cards are getting delivered. I have confirmation deliveries. I can see all of them where they are in the process. They seem to take a little bit longer, but hell, I don't know what a stamp was taking in the first place, because it never said it got delivered. So you were just in a hope and a prayer. But I looked, a $15 card made it in 5 days. And so I'm like, okay, it comes out and it wants to print like on a half sheet of printer paper.
Gotcha.
I have not done that. What I've done is I'm using the 5163 Avery printing label, address labels. There's 10 to a page, and what I'm doing is I'm using the snippet tool, and I'm snipping out the printed thing, and I'm pasting it in there and printing it out, and it comes out, and the label's like this big. Now you can buy bigger labels. What happened, I tried it on a few, but what happens is it gets too distorted when you do the cut and paste. But it works, and they've made it there. They've been able to be scanned and shipped, and they've been delivered. I did a couple of test runs before I did this big time, and they've worked perfectly.
Great idea for and about the cards video on. Yeah,
I just got to figure out how to do it.
Yeah, if you're out there listening and you've perfected this new science, please post a video. 3 to 5 minute video, however long it takes, walking through the process for somebody that wants to be able to sell this way moving forward. We would definitely love a couple of videos. Couple of different ways. There's always different avenues to get from point A to point B. Definitely going to be beneficial moving forward, both as buyers and sellers, because now all of a sudden, I can tell you I'm going to save hundreds of dollars this year on just excess shipping, not shipping.
This guy actually printed it. This guy actually printed. I got today printed it on the envelope.
That's great.
So I got to figure that out. But yeah,
you're printing out.
I'm not buying any. Go ahead.
You can do multiple. You can select multiple instead of size. That might help too. That's how when I'm making copies of checks, instead of having 4 individual.
We're gonna learn together.
Because I do that every once in a while when I need like a size, and I always have it set for multiple, and then I get this little tiny square in the corner, and I'm like, "What the F is this?" And I'm like, "Oh, you dumb, you didn't change it over."
And I got a really good version of that on my PDF stuff on my computer from work.
So yeah, I'm sure there's people out there that are much smarter at PDF and printing than I am.
But I'm not looking at cards like anymore. If I see like a 2 or like I was buying these Buster Posey cards, right? The 85 or 86 tops, and I needed a couple, and so it's like, okay, this guy's got it for $2 with 91-cent shipping. This guy over here has it for $1.75 but $3.49 shipping. I'm not going to buy it from you for $3.49 anymore. Like I don't need to spend that money. Now, if it's over a $20 card, you should definitely be doing that. Also, you really probably don't want to be auctioning off cards that could go over $20 on this, because then now if you have it set on that dollar ship and the card goes to say $21, you're going to have to pay the difference on the shipping. So you could lose a couple bucks there. So keep it under cards under 20. And that's why I've gotten away from, like, also that way I know the price, and then like I can accept the price and do it that way. I hope that they release this out so you can buy these from other places, like you can with PayPal shipping, and the standard envelope is an option through PayPal shipping later this year. That would be fabulous. One of the best. Go ahead.
I was just saying, if you're on eBay as a buyer, and it says 99-cent auction, it says shipping not specified. What that means is that if the card stays under $20, like Tim said, your shipping will be $51.71.91, whatever the associated cost will be. But if it jumps up over $20, it potentially could go up, depending on what the seller has listed. So just kind of keep an eye on that. And it's not a big deal if it's a shipping not specified and it's some insert of some random card that is going to be a $3 max card. Then your shipping is going to be under $1 most likely. So just kind of keep that in mind as well. And if you see shipping not specified, that's what that is. It's not specified because the shipping has this plus or minus $20 limit.
So a great idea came across from Once a Cub Cards on Twitter. Said, would it be possible, reasonable to set up a 99-cent listing for something like random card free shipping, and then when they buy that from another account, you're able to ship trades or sport lots with tracking. So you take a small hit on the eBay fee, but everything is tracked. Presumably, you could make up your own fee with whatever you were charging for shipping on sport lots, since you're paying yourself and you get a bulk of it back. Trades would just be a peace of mind thing. Trying to think it through on my own that that would work or wouldn't work. So basically, you could set up a buy a random baseball card for $1, free shipping, and then you could tell, like, hey Ben, we're gonna make a trade. Go ahead and I'm gonna go ahead and like buy this dollar or whatever. I'll refund you back, but go ahead and buy this so I can get the tracking stuff. So we both get the tracking information. I put our trade in there and I mail it off to you. Now you have plain red envelope with tracking. I don't know how well that would work. It's a good idea. I don't know if they would, that could be frowned upon about, random card, and, that might got kind of hinky if eBay looked into it maybe, but I don't know. It's worth a shot till you say, what's the best thing to ask? It's better to ask for forgiveness than for permission. So
the only thing I see is you're kind of trying to go around the system a little bit. People were doing that years ago by backloading. I'm going to go ahead and sell you this card, Tim, for $1, but you're going to pay $15 shipping, because in theory it's a $16 card. So I'm going to get my price, but I'm only going to have to pay the eBay fees on the 99-cent sale. So eBay caught on to that, and now it's final value fees. It doesn't matter what the blend of that $16 is, 1 plus 15, 15 plus 1, or something in between. Now you're paying it off $16. It ruined it. I don't know who threw the sticky wad up on the ceiling, right? I don't know who did that, so the entire class has to stay after. If we start trying to circumvent some of these new systems, eBay's going to do away with it. So best case scenario, just play by the rules. Don't try to get too creative. Unless I'm misunderstanding something. It just seems like if you try to circumvent it and eBay catches on, then we're all
he was basically saying you could just, in doing a trade. So if we were each making a trade, it would be easy because you can't purchase this plain and white envelope tracking anywhere else. Basically, you could buy it to secure your trade, and that way you could have tracking on your trade. So if we were just not exchanging any money between each other, but cards, but we wanted to have them tracked through PWE, so we could instead of using a bubble mailer. That would be an option. I don't know. So Target, dude, retail is changing. Target sent this out. This is email communication from inside Target. Hi, team. Apologies for any confusion here this morning. You should have received communication via My Day on the new limits for trading cards. See below. Trading card guest purchase limit. A purchase limit of 3 of the same item per guest is effective immediately. This is due to strong guest demands for trading cards. MLB, NFL, and MLB. I don't see NHL on there. Oops. With resellers activity and concerns with TM, guest and vendor safety and social distancing. February 14th, a POS hard lock will go into effect, so guests will not be able to purchase more than the limit. To do for the GM leader, immediately print and post the item sign inline your trading cards. Partner with AP to determine if there are safety concerns at your store. Excel reps are responsible for stocking new product. If they're stocking the sales floor during business hours and have concerns or feel uncomfortable, they can go to the service desk and ask for a leader or AP, which is asset protection, for assistance. If they needed, partner with the vendor to see if they're able to service your store outside of guest hours if you're having issues. If the guest is aggressive or makes threats, partner with AP or your store leader to help maintain social distancing when multiple guests are lining up or crowding the trading card section. Use MyLines app to meter guests in the area. Like, this is getting serious where they're putting this out as a company-wide email. And then there was a guy on Twitter that Rebel resident T Zizzle says, word on the street is every Walmart is moving to limits on cards nationwide as well. So we could be seeing it there.
Yeah, I don't think that this Target email was supposed to be made public.
It wasn't.
Yeah,
it's a total screenshot.
Yeah. Obviously, somebody in the hobby works at a Target and was able to get us some great information. But yeah, we've been saying this on the show for for the last few months, that in 12 to 18 months, most retail is going to be gone. My section at our local Walmart is almost gone. There's a box at Heritage High that's been empty for a while. There's some Pokemon stuff there, but it went from probably 20 feet down to like 15, down to 12, and now it's my shoulder length. And it's like just
4 inches.
Yeah, it just keeps getting worse and worse. And I can see it being gone soon. And I can't tell you, I think Topps Archives was the last product I saw personally on the shelf there. And I took crap for it because a few people are like, hey, you should have bought it and sold it to me at cost. And I'm like, I didn't even think that it was Archives. By the way,
hey, real quick, we're almost an hour and a half in. And if you're still listening to the podcast, I'm going to give this to you. It's been reported, and I went to check it today, but I was struck out, that hoops, fat packs, have been spotted at Barnes & Noble.
Yeah.
There you go. Tip of the day.
That's kind of a small little honey hole that I think is in.
Mine looked like somebody had licked, like Winnie the Pooh had been here, because like everything was licked clean. It was just this big empty roller full of pigs. So
we've known about Barnes and Nobles for a while now, better part of a year, that was kind of a secret honey hole. And I've seen more and more people like on Facebook, hey guys, I got this at Barnes and Noble. And it's like, listen, dum. Literally, if you found it, don't go telling everybody.
No, you keep that secret.
Maybe tell a handful of your friends that hey, whatever. That's how this happens.
Everybody listening is my friend.
Yeah, absolutely. But not on Facebook. You and your 36,000 friends. No.
About the cards Top Madness. Remember, 68 years of designs. The Elite 8 ended this week. There were 3 upsets in 4 brackets. The Beckett bracket, number 2, 1953, beat number 1 seed 1987, 28-21. James Good, I blame you. I blame you, James Good. People want you back on the show. So they supported you by showing 53 the love. The Burdick bracket upset. Number 2 seed 1956 beat number 1 seed 1991, 32-17. It wasn't even close. In the Klein bracket, there was also another upset. Number 5 seed 1954 beat number 2 seed 1952 29-21. And the Burger bracket, number 4 seed 1983 beat number 7 seed 1972 36-13. That wasn't even close. So the final four, we have number 2 seed out of the Beckett bracket 1953 versus number 2 seed from the Burdick bracket 1956. And on the other side, the right side of the bracket, number 5 seed out of the Klein bracket 1954 versus the number 4 seed from the Burger bracket 1983. And real quick look, we've had some votes. 53 is up 11-10 over 56. And then 83 is up 13-8 over 54. Could 1983 be a top 2 design of all time?
It doesn't matter. It's going to get... It's like Boise State coming in up against, like, Alabama or one of these big boys.
It's like the year that, when Gordon Hayward, they made it the championship game.
It's like Gonzaga. Yeah. It's one of these.
Butler. It's like Butler.
83 is great. It doesn't belong in the Final Four, in my opinion. That's my opinion. Obviously, our great listeners and supporters and have decided it does belong in the Final Four. 53 versus 56, I've long said, are the best 2 designs. If you remove nostalgia, that should be the final, for the championship. And whichever one of those 2 win ultimately are going to smoke 54 or 83.
It's just crazy though. Like I love it. It's been nuts. I really enjoyed it. I appreciate everybody that's been voting. We all do. This is week 6 of 7. Next week we'll have the championship week. We vote Wednesday through Tuesday. It's sponsored by Underdog Collectibles. Remember, they offer a wide variety of break options that will break the bank. Remember, always bet on the Underdog. And they're giving away a box of 2020 Topps Update for anybody that votes. So make sure you fill that out as you're voting. 83 would have been number 1 if you used the Sandberg card design over the win. I'm the one that picked all the cards, and I picked the best card from 83, which was the Tony Gwynn card. Mine, Sandberg, is as overrated as Ozzie Smith is. Yeah, and I mean, but at least those 2 I legit are Hall of Famers over Harold Baines all day long. Let's be honest there.
And that's, I hate that we clown on him. He's not a Hall of Famer, but he was a really good player for
listen, if you had a team in the 1980s, would you rather had Dale Murphy or Harold Baines on your team?
No, or Don Mattingly or Will Clark or plenty of other players that aren't Hall of Famers.
I'm just saying, but those 2 played almost exactly at the same times and for almost as long. Right? I mean, Baines started with 81, Murphy was 77, 78. So he had a little bit of a jump in Baines, but the bulk of their good years were all the same. Their prime years. Murphy all day. I'm sorry.
But that's the thing is, I mean,
Baines just hung around for a long time.
And Baines backdoored into the Hall of Fame because of all of his buddies, LaRussa included, on the vet committee. But man, I love Baines. He was a good player. And it feels bad clowning on the guy because he was a really good player. He's just not a Hall of Famer. He set the bar so low that now you have
Jack Morris got in.
There's like 300 other dudes that have to get in now because the thing is,
we can't let Bonds or Clemens in, but we could let Jack Morris and Harold Baines in. Okay, yeah,
and Jim Rice.
Good.
There's a lot of guys in there that don't belong in there.
Project 70 started today. First release, we had card number 1 was a 1988 Mookie Betts by Ben Baller. Card number 2 is a 1955 Fernando Tatis by Ermsey. And number 3 was 2018 Babe Ruth by DJ Skeet. Based on just these 3 cards, are you in or out on Project 70? Just based on these 3 cards, you have to be in or out, and you don't have to buy these cards. But just seeing what the first 3 look like, you either say, yes, I'm going to buy at least 1 card, or no, I'm completely out.
I'm going to buy all the A's.
That's true. But, I mean, but take that out of the equation. Take off those Oakland glasses that, are covered in soot and dirt and, whatever else, urine, and look through some clean glasses and just say, okay,
Yeah, there's going to be at least one. I mean, that Babe Ruth card today looked sharp. We knew it was going to be a $20 price point, and it does. That's where we're at. Yeah, I'm sure you start getting into some Lou Gehrig cards and stuff like that. I'm probably going to go outside of the A's. Lou Gehrig will be the one that will be my kryptonite. But somebody recreated this Babe Ruth today on Facebook. He said he took 5 minutes, a different picture of Babe Ruth. Said it took 5 minutes to Photoshop it. Looks almost identical, and he's like, DJ Ski's going to make a ton of money on what probably was an hour-long Photoshop, if that.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. So if you purchase all 20 cards from any specific artist, you'll receive a exclusive gold stamped art print featuring all 20 cards. Now, you have to use the same Topps account and all this stuff. There were some rules and stuff involved there. But if you want support our guy Blake Jameson, that's a guy with support. Our buddy Topps Living Stat tweeted out strategy. So starting tomorrow, and this was yesterday, what's your strategy this year? None, some, player, artist, team, speculating on low print runs, all of them? What would be your strategy? Obviously, yours is going to be team. Mine is going to be if there's any of my player. God, if there was a Garrett Hampson, I would shit my pants. I doubt there will be, but I'm hoping there's at least a Brett or two that pop up and maybe a Buster here or there. That would be cool. But that's the only one I'm going to be looking after probably. What would your strategy be? Buy all? So
you're looking at just over 1,000 cards, right?
Yeah.
In order, so you're looking at, let's call it 2.5 times as big as Project 2020. Same price point, 3 cards a day, which is going to be a little bit more overload. They are going to be available for 70 hours, not 48 hours. So that will help you, to give you basically an extra day to decide. It's tough to say. We've already saw a leak of what cards 4 through 9 potentially might be.
Yeah, and it looks like, real quick, 54 Acuna by Snoop Dogg, 2021 Tommy Lasorda by Cartoon, 1990 Griffey by Bobby Hundreds, 1985 Lindor by Keith Shore, 1956 Vlad Jr. by JK5, and a 1961 Jeter by NY Nico.
Yeah, the main thing is not to fall down a rabbit hole with unless you've already decided I'm buying all of Blake Jameson's stuff, right? I'm buying all 20, no matter who he does and what they look like. I'm in, because this is going to be a much bigger project, and it's going to be, again, we have a lot of new artists that we haven't seen. I kind of like that they're, within the first couple of days, we're going to see Snoop Dogg and DJ Ski and Bobby Hundreds, and start to see a few of the new artists, assuming 4 through 9, as you just read them, are in fact going to be the next 6 released over the next 2 days. It'll be interesting to kind of see what some of their designs are. I think you're going to see people like Keith Shore sell really well now that we have Project 2020 to rely on, just because his Mattingly took so much crap. I think a lot of the returning artists from 2020 are going to have built-in consumer bases. But yeah, your strategy should probably be set beforehand. I'm only going after an artist. I feel really bad for Mike Trout collectors and Robert collectors and
Tatis
collectors. All the big names. I feel bad for probably Babe Ruth collectors, Yankee collectors, Jeter collectors. Probably feel bad for Nolan Ryan collectors, because there are going to be a lot of players that are going to be replicated and duplicated, and I would imagine, and I could be wrong, and once a Cub, you're in the YouTube chat, so you can back me up or disagree depending on your opinion. I could totally see this being similar to Throwback Thursday, where the teams and certain players are going to be super top heavy, despite the fact that with 51 artists versus 20 artists, and you're not stuck doing just the 20 iconic cards and the 20 players, right? You have the freedom to do all the players you want. I can totally see there being a lot of duplicity on the names, and it being completely top heavy. So good luck if you like Mike Trout, because you're probably going to get screwed and you're probably going to have to collect 51 of these suckers.
Yeah. We will see. Paul Lesko was talking about burnout. He goes, since it's looking like Project 70 might have 1,020 cards, I'd hazard to say there's a good chance of burnout setting in for collectors. So, to gauge what might happen for all of you Project 2020 collectors, when did your Project 2020 burnout set in? There was 93 people responded. Before card 100, 38% said yes. Between cards 101 and 250, 25%. Between cards 250 and 400, 19%. Never. I'm an athlete, 16%. Last the whole way. I lasted the whole way because I was just chasing the Brett ones. And I was just waiting it out. I was only going after one player. You were going after two guys.
What about your fatigue, though, when you just got tired?
Yeah,
that's what it was.
Mine was fear of missing, that I forgot to look one day and a Brett went. One day that happened, that I bought one with like 2 hours left. I was like, oh shit. Because you had to look every day of the week. And, God forbid you missed one day.
I mean, yeah, I stayed with it. The only one that I bought that was not, I bought the two, the Ryan Vites and the Griffey Shore I bought on the secondary market for a couple bucks each, just because we talked so much about them, and I think those are iconic in a not so favorable way. But I bought Keyshore's last one that had all of the players in the background directly from Topps. Other than that, I just stuck with the Hendersons and the McGuires. But yeah, my fatigue ran out. I mean, I loved them, right? Every day, boom. Oh man, look at these two. These are fantastic. Up until about card 100. And then it was just like, oh, God.
My guy get in? No, I'm out. Yeah. My guy get in? No, I'm out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. That's kind of where I was. Ones that come said, who will be the last team repped if every team does get repped? The Tampa Bay Rays.
Yeah, because who's your iconic player if you wanted to go back and do a historical player? It's Evan Longoria, right? I don't think David Price is Chris Archer. I don't think that they're going to be. And who's your current guy, right? You just traded Blake Snell, and I don't know that he would have been really considered for this. Yeah,
they might not ever get a card. I mean, it might be the fact the Brewers, they might not even get a card. I mean, you link Yout and Molitor, that's it.
Well, I mean, right off the bat, you would have to look at the Diamondbacks and the Rockies, the Rays and the Marlins, just because those are the most recent teams we've seen.
Yeah.
Right. Assuming you link the Nationals and the Expos together.
But Larry Rocker, just recent Hall of Famer, he might get something. But again, that's.
Would you put him as a Rocky or would you put him as an Expo?
Rocky, because I think he's going in as a Rocky, right?
Yeah. But I mean, if you're an artist, though, it depends on which artist decides to put a Larry Walker card in there. If you're looking at somebody.
I think we have an Expos card before we have any of those four teams.
Yeah, if you look at somebody like Blake Jameson, who's an A's fan, is a fellow McGuire fan. He included Reggie Jackson as an Oakland A in his 1951 top set. We've seen over the last couple of years that when Reggie Jackson is on a checklist, go ahead and assume he's a Yankee. And if Ricky Henderson's on the checklist, go ahead and assume he is an A. That hasn't held true over every single release, but by and large, I'd say with an 80+% accuracy, that's where they've been. And then all of a sudden, Blake Jameson comes out with this set, and he throws us a curve and puts Jackson as an A. You don't know that. That's because, and he said on our show, I put him on the right team, or maybe it was right before our show. I don't know if it was before the show. I put him on the right team because in his mind, he affiliates Reggie Jackson with the A's just like I do. Just like, if you're a Nolan Ryan guy, what team are you going to put him on? It really depends on how old you are. Because an argument can be made for any of the four teams he played for.
If you want to screw with people, you put him on the Angels.
Put him in the hideous Astros jersey of the 70s.
Oh, those are great. Get out of here.
But yeah, I mean, do you put some...
I like once a cup. I think you split the player. Like,
the card.
That stupid A's, that stupid A's Giants hat. Like you have the guy you'd have the big unit and half a Mariner and half a Diamondback uniform, but wearing an Astros hat and pitching at Pac Bell.
Why not, man? You can split it four ways, and
yeah,
you have so much so much freedom.
That's what I would do. That's what I would do. I
So
would
much-
like, you remember the old Inside Sports where they would build the best NFL player, and it's like, okay, we're gonna have Steve Young's legs, and we're gonna have Brett Favre's arm, and so this
It'll be fun to see. I think once we've seen 2 or 3 cards from each artist that's new, I think the fatigue will start to set in. I think everybody's interested to see what Snoop Dogg's cards are going to look like tomorrow. But once you've seen 2 or 3 of them, especially if you're a Brewers fan, and you know that you're just not going to be very represented in this set, I don't think you care as much. And I've seen a lot of hardcore collectors. I mean, look at somebody like our buddy Mark Hoyle, huge Ted Williams guy, and he was just, I'll pick up 1 or 2 that I like from Project 2020, and it's like, aren't you supposed to get all 20 of these? Like, just by rule, you're supposed to get them all, and he's just like, not that interested. So I think the fatigue sets in pretty quick with this, just because it also is not the first of this. It's kind of the follow-up. It's the sequel to Project 2020, bigger and better, 2.5 times bigger.
I'm wait and see on this. I'm not going to just randomly buy in. I think a lot of people are going to buy into this first wave because of how like all the first wave stuff has been like the lowest print run, and that might inflate this market a little bit. And you might want to buy in after the market. And I much rather wait and see what the market is. Like if I have a guy in the set, I'm going to buy it. If not, I'm going to stay away. Or if a card really inspires me, like we talked about the Blake Jameson McGuire. There was the Blake Jameson Trout. There was a couple cards that just kind of spoke to me. The Mr. Padre Tony Gwynn. I bought it just because I thought it was a cool ass looking card. And it wasn't because I was super. Think Tony Gwynn's a great player, but it's not because I like to collect Tony Gwynn. I was like, that's just a cool looking card. I want to have one. I bought another McGuire as well. So, so it's going to be hit and miss with me. This was supposed to be. We have the question of the week. This is a question that was out last week. I stole from Mojo. From Mojo Break Media Twitter handle. Who is the current face of baseball? We just didn't get time to it last week. So who would you say is with tonight? We found out that Tatis signs a 14-year, $340 million contract with the Padres. Who do you think is the face of baseball?
They do such a horrible job of marketing their star players. If Harper was actually any good compared to his hype, he's their most marketable, I think. But it's Mike Trout, and the fact that they don't market him nearly as good as, all you have to do is look at how the NBA markets their players and just copy and paste with your guys.
And they've been doing that since the 90s.
Yeah.
They've changed.
You have LeBron and you have Mike Trout. So whatever they do with LeBron, you do with Trout, and you'll be okay. Who's your number 2 guy? Whoever your number 2 guy is in the NBA, you take your next guy. You got young guys, young talent in the NBA. So you take your Tatises of the world, and, Francisco Lindor has – yeah.
Tatis.
Lindor has a smile that now that he's in New York, just put that on a billboard. Just his
Luka?
smile and
Soto.
And Soto, Acuna. There's so many young players under the age
if you want a Yankee, I think Gleyber is a great one.
Under the age of 28, there's so much talent right now, and it's not just like good talent. It's like, in some cases, you could argue historic talent, or at least potentially speaking, as much as you can say about a 23-year-old in Soto and Tatis's case.
Alex Smith.
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
Why wouldn't you want to do everything you can to make sure that – and the difference, too, is unlike the NFL, you see these guys' faces. And because baseball's much slower, you see their faces a lot more than in the NBA where these guys are running up and down the court. NFL, everybody's wearing helmets. And the NFL is much better at marketing their players than Major League Baseball. It's just, as of right now, it's Mike Trout, in my opinion, at least for the next few years until Tatis or Soto or Acuna or, a small handful of players take that.
Yeah.
I just think most of those guys haven't played enough yet to be nationally recognized by the casual fan.
You put them out there, though. Like, that's the thing is you market those guys like the holy heck out of them. I remember when ESPN got the NBA in the early 2000s, they had a commercial with the two guys that were going to be, and I forget who they were now, they were going to be announcing most of the games. And then they had like a bus of young, talented guys. I remember Garnett was like the big star, but they had a bunch of other random NBA stars, or future upcoming players on this bus. And it was just like this kind of series of commercials. And they did such a good job of doing that. Like so you have Mookie Betts in LA, right? And you have Mike Trout in LA. Okay, Mike Trout's a homegrown LA player. Even though it's an Angel, he's still a homegrown player. You go to, the Yankees and, have Judge and they have Stanton and they have, Torres and now the Mets have Lindor. Okay, so there you got New York and LA covered. You're looking like, okay, so you got the big cities kind of covered. And so now it's like, okay, now we go down in the other corner, we go Atlanta, right? You could do some of the Kuna and Albies all day long with new talent. You go to Chicago, and I think they, Chris Bryant's probably not long for there, but Anthony Rizzo, right? I mean, he seems to be a pretty fun, outgoing guy. I think, something like that. So, like, I just, you get all these things kind of, they could do so much. And I agree with you, it's Trout. But I would say Soto and Acuna are two of the guys that'd be right behind them and competing for that face of baseball. It could change the next year or two, but that's where we are right now. So
think about this. If you took the casual fan, just somebody that watches baseball casually, that doesn't collect baseball cards, because obviously that gives us kind of a slight advantage as far as being able to identify these players. But if you just took somebody that watches baseball, considers himself a baseball fan, and said, all right, or sports fan, let's say sports, and I'm going to line up the top 10 NBA players and then do the same thing with the NFL and baseball, I bet you they are going to be able to identify the top 10 basketball and football players more, because even if you're not a football fan, if we just think about a lot of the players like J.J. Watt, obviously Mahomes and Rodgers are on all of these, State Farm commercials. They do such a good job of throwing these players in our faces. And again, Mahomes and Rodgers spend their entire career with their faces stuck underneath the helmet. Even defensive players have had, their day in the sun. You see a lot of these. I just think if you lined up 10 players and the top 10 stars, guys you should be able to pick out of a police lineup, I think most casual sports fans would be able to nail the NFL and NBA players, and there's going to be some on the, can most people pick Acuna out if you're not a card collector?
Once it comes says Javi Baez. Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, the dude's got the MLB logo tattooed on the back of his neck. And then you also, in Chicago, you have Luis Robert, who have the reigning MVP. You have Jose Abreu. You have Eloy Jimenez.
Tim Anderson. Tim Anderson's fun to watch. Not when you're playing against him, but guy brings a ton of energy. I'm excited.
Look at the young guys in Toronto.
Oh yeah,
Toronto might not be any good, but you know who they remind me of? The mid 1990s Cleveland Indians.
Yeah,
with Baerga, Sandy Alomar, Tomei, Manram, Albert Bell, Lofton, like
Nagy,
and that team. If that team had just a tad more pitching, Joe Table.
Yeah, Mesa. I mean, there's there's a lot, and I think that like right now, top 100 right now, I'm watching Aaron Judge at 21, George Springer at 20, Jose Ramirez at 19, Machado at 18, Bregman 17, Trevor Story at 16. Can you pick Trevor Story out of a police lineup if he's with enough people that look similar to him? Lindor at 15, DJ LeMahieu. Can you pick LeMahieu out?
Yes, because I just spent $650 on his card.
Shane Bieber. Can you pick Shane Bieber, who MLB Network?
I could pick Justin Bieber out.
12th best player right now.
That's insane.
Could you pick Bieber out of a lineup?
By the way, that you're buying into that set on Topps.com, right? Dude, we were going to go an hour and a half tonight. We're almost at 2 hours. So, just the two of us. Good Lord. Any final thoughts before we head out tonight, Ben? It's been fun. As always.
Somebody, I think it might have been Good as Gold in our YouTube chat. It said,
by the way, Good as Gold's been on fire here. I don't know if he's been hanging out with us before, but thank you for hanging out. Love the commentary tonight, but thank you so much.
I apologize if I'm giving him credit for saying something that somebody else might have said. So I do apologize. But he had said something about positivity is contagious. And, right now over the last couple of years, there's just been more negative stuff or more funny stuff or insane stuff for us to focus on. It's just the state of the current hobby, and it's not going to slow down. But, a little positivity at the end of the show, hey, if you've got some stacks of cards laying around that need a new home, find a collector that might be able to appreciate those, whether you just give them to them outright as a random act of kindness, or you just say, hey, can you at least cover the shipping, clear up your desk a little bit, try to get some cards into the right hands. If you hang out at an LCS and you got some kids around, their kids are our future. Us old guys right now are the current, but it's important that we start to harbor and build that next generation. And it might be on our shoulders because I don't think the manufacturers are going to help us at all.
You don't care.
So getting the kids excited. I mean, I got some Pokemon cards from McDonald's the other day, and my 3-year-old, first thing he did, Dad, cards like you, crunch. And I'm like, okay, so you don't get to touch Daddy's cards.
Yeah.
But, if our LCS ever opens back up, he used to always have, he's open, but if he opens like it was a year ago this time, he used to have boxes of $1, $2 relics and autos, just stuff that most people don't want. Good way to get young collectors involved. Get them a relics. I did that with my son Bentley. Buy a $2 relic, something that's a patch card, and he pulls it out of his binder every once in a while and tells me, Dad, look at this patch card. Let me see your finger before you touch it, because that's what I tell him with mine. And let's focus on some positivity. I do try on my Twitter timeline, try to mix some positivity in once in a while.
Oh yeah, okay. I want to say the reason why sometimes we talk about the crazy things going on is because, one, we want to make people aware. As we lead off every show, we say this is a podcast by collectors for collectors. Because, Steph works in the industry, but he doesn't work for a manufacturer. He basically works for a third-party reseller of cards, a consignor of cards. And so we really don't have super skin in the game on this, besides being collectors. And we want to give the information as if we were talking to you at the card shop, at a card show, in our living room, on Twitter. We're bringing that to this format because nobody else was. There are some people out there doing it. There's a ton of good podcasts out there, don't get me wrong. The fact that that we've done 138 of these shows and we're still doing it and still getting people to hang out with us all night long is awesome. But I just I want people to be aware of what's going on and not be distracted by the shiny glitz and glamour of, oh, this and that. And they don't see the real ugliness behind it. Not that it's ugly, but there is ugly and shadiness that can happen in any hobby, any industry. And we're just trying to let everybody know. And, so.
I do have one other thing. My wife is heading to her dad's house Friday. So I'm going to be a bachelor overnight. So Saturday morning, I reached out to Herman Bryant, 3B Collection. Reached out to him. We had set up a Zoom meeting a couple of times over the last few months. Got the house to myself. What a better way than to hang out with some fellow collectors. So Saturday morning at 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern. If you're on Twitter, reach out to either myself or Herman at 3B Collection and ask to be added to the group DM. We'll drop the link to the Zoom in there on Saturday morning. Come and go as you please. Just come in and say hi for a couple of minutes. The last time, I think we had 7 or 8 guys at any given time. The time before that, I think we had close to 20. Some people just sat there and listened. And it's just like a big, giant LCS-type virtual chat room where we talk about anything that comes to mind. You know, if we can throw some topics in there that somebody wants to talk about, we can discuss it as a group, or it just, you know, what the heck you got? What was your mail day last night? Or we got onto all different types of subjects, and there was a newer collector in there that had some questions about grading. So we were able to kind of walk him through some of that, or at least point him in the right direction. So again, February 20th, Saturday morning, noon Eastern. Just hop in, and if you guys want to, you know, even if you just want to get into the chat room or the group DM, if not this time, maybe next time. So, yeah, that should be fun, and it's positive, and it was a great time to sit outside, have a cup of coffee with our hobby brothers and sisters, smoke a cigar, enjoy the Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon, depending on your time zone. So, you know, hopefully we'll see some of you guys there. Everybody's invited until Zoom tells us we can't let anybody more in.
No, definitely. So definitely check it out. I'm going to try to be there. I'm not sure what my Saturday looks like. Yeah, I might have a big day. I might have to go to Home Depot, maybe Bed Bath & Beyond. I don't know. It could be crazy. Just wild.
Just don't know. There might be not enough time.
Yeah, there might not be enough time. Remember, we're live every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific on YouTube. Make sure to subscribe and review our show on all platforms and give us those thumbs up. They mean some love. Make sure you follow Underdog Collectibles at UDog Collect. Follow us on Twitter about the cards. Follow Ben at Our Trading Cards. Follow Steph at Junk Wax Twins. And let's hope that Texas thaws out at some point in time, right? It's going crazy. I saw like frozen toilets and stuff like that. That's crazy. You can always follow me at Big Shep 79. Please share your hobby stories. Great poll. Send your questions our way. Keep collecting. We'll talk to you all.